All right. So today our prayer will particularly focus on praying for communities, particularly in Minnesota and other parts of our country, where incidents of violence that involve law enforcement and African-American men, which have led to increased tension and anxiety. We'd like to pray our prayer today, especially as a prayer for justice and a prayer for peace and a prayer that all those in our society, particularly those most vulnerable, those most disadvantaged at this particular time of difficulty for all of us, may find hope in the Lord, and that we may be sponsored to truly be Christ present for our brothers and sisters. So let us remember that we are always and everywhere in the holy presence of God. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen. God, our Father of all peoples, you call us to love one another as you have loved us. Give particular care to those who are marginalized, poor, and suffer injustice. You draw men and women to yourself from every nation, tribe, people, and language into your kingdom, and you abhor hatred and violence. We beg your mercy in light of recent acts in our country. Have mercy on the souls of those whose lives were taken unjustly, and give hope and comfort to their families. Have mercy on communities that live in fear. Have mercy on our country and help us find healing. May we commit ourselves to building a civilization of love and a just society in which all can live in peace and every person can flourish. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. So good morning again, everyone. Welcome to our last virtual morning meeting of the year. It's the first opportunity for our new student body president, Quinn Zabrowski, to speak to you, which he'll be doing a little bit later. But before we dive into the program today, I wanted to speak directly to our seniors and their parents about this week's developments with graduation, which have been literally a day-by-day experience. Early in the week, we were all very excited when the news from Governor Murphy came that in-person graduations were going to be permitted after July 6th. So it looked like, okay, our August backup date was going to be the one we were going to use, but we were going to be able to have an in-person graduation with appropriate social distancing. However, when we got detailed guidelines from the state yesterday, it became clear that what was our expectations from earlier in the week were premature because the government had not given us sufficient detail. Yes, in-person graduations would be permitted, but only with a maximum of 25 people. Obviously, we have 132 seniors, their parents, even a minimum number of the staff. That clearly can't happen with 25 people. So that means that, yes, we're going to have commencement on Sunday, August 2nd. We hope very much to have in some form, some kind of in-person graduation where everyone can be here together. It's not realistic to do multiple ceremonies one after the other. That really undercuts the whole experience of being together, particularly as a class for the last time. But if, for example, we could figure out a way to have just the seniors here, even if we can't have anyone else, we would like to provide an opportunity for our seniors to be together as a group one more time, even if their parents could not be here. Obviously, that's not desirable, but we're looking at a variety of undesirable options. A virtual graduation is certainly better than no graduation at all, but it's not what we would want. Having a graduation where only seniors are present on campus rather than seniors and their parents, or seniors, their parents, and their guests is not desirable. Not having faculty present is to congratulate and wish our students well and to pray with them and for them. That's not desirable. But we are really constrained by the restrictions the government is placing on us. We have to submit an affidavit, actually. I have to swear a statement to the state government, to the State Department of Education, affirming that we are going to conform with the state's guidelines if we are going to have an in-person graduation. So the state government has really raised the stakes and has really made it clear that they are intent on doing whatever it takes to enforce the restrictions that they believe are in our best interest. We have to abide by those, even if we may disagree with them. So right now, what do we know? We know that we cannot have more than 25 people on campus for a gathering at any one time. We know that we're going to use Sunday, August 2nd as the date for our graduation, whatever form that will be. And we're going to wait for more guidance from the governor to find out how many people we can have together. The reason why we very regretfully decided that we couldn't hold the prom was we know that we could have a socially distant graduation. By definition, you can't have a socially distant prom. So it's just not permitted within the constraints of what the governor has laid out for us. No one was more disappointed than I. If you ask any of the other administrators, I think they thought I was just going to put my head in my hands and give up yesterday when we got the details about what we were required to do. No one wants to honor this senior class more than I do. You've been through a lot, you've accomplished a lot. It's not simply because you've suffered, which we all have to one degree or another, but because you've done great things, you've accomplished great things. You're leaving a great legacy for your younger brothers and for the faculty and staff and for the alumni whose ranks you will soon join. So it's at the core of any school community to welcome new members and to say goodbye appropriately to those who are moving on to the next stages of their lives and educations. We want to be able to do that the best way we can. Right now, the best we can do is not very satisfactory, but we are going to constantly be looking at the best way we can make that happen within the framework that the state permits for us. It's not what we want. And I know that many seniors and their parents are upset, disappointed, angry. I understand that. I am as well. I wish that I could do something that we could just sort of do our own thing, but that's not possible. It would be irresponsible and unethical for us to just sort of decide to do what we want to do. We simply cannot do that, much as we might like to. So right now, we know that August 2nd will be the baccalaureate and commencement. It'll either be in person in some form, or it will be a virtual ceremony. And we're investigating options for that right now to find out what the best way would be to do it in a virtual way that, obviously we have no experience with it, but a number of other schools, a number of universities that our alumni are attending in large numbers, like Notre Dame, Villanova, have done it and did it in a way that was dignified and joyful as best they could do within the framework that they had. And we are committed to doing whatever it takes to make this graduation celebration as special and meaningful and joyful as possible. And that's what we have at the moment. That's what we know at the moment. And we will be in regular contact with seniors and their families as we get more information, which will in turn, from the state, which will in turn shape how we structure commencement on August 2nd. So that's where we are at the moment. And I'll get to questions at the end, as we normally do. And with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Durso.
Thank you, Father Michael. Good morning, Delbarton. I'm going to break up my piece of this today into three parts: what has happened, what's happening now, and what will happen. What has happened? I would like you to think about going back to the beginning of the pandemic and our school closure, and reflect on what has made you resilient throughout all of this. I think that it is important. It is an important part of being resilient and embodying our school motto, to be reflective and to think about what ways were we thinking then and how did our thinking change over time? How did we change how we acted in order to deal with the crisis at hand? Also to that end, we have put out surveys. You received one in Schoology for the students, parents have received one, and the faculty are receiving one. because we want our community to be reflective in terms of what worked, what didn't, what other ideas do we have for dealing with similar crises in the future, so that we can be responsive to our community's needs. So I'll be reposting that survey periodically, and then the surveys will close next Friday. It's very, very important that all of our students participate in that survey so that we take everyone's perspective into consideration. What's happening now? You're closing out your classes for many of you. This is an appropriate point in time where you check with your teachers to make sure that you have all loose ends tied up, that there's no surprises after next Wednesday. It would also be a great time to look at in PowerSchool and look at what courses you have registered for next year, just to make sure that everything there is in order. If it's not, certainly contact your guidance counselor. This is also an appropriate time to be grateful. We talked about this from the very beginning for the first morning meeting, that expressing gratitude is an important part of good mental health throughout these difficult circumstances. So think about, is there a teacher who went above and beyond, right, that you could express your gratitude for? Maybe it was a parent that comforted you in a time of need. Maybe you thank one of your buddies, one of your brothers, one of your classmates, right, who reached out and it meant something to you. So take this moment now, right, to express that gratitude for others. Looking forward, I want you to consider how you're going to be productive this summer. Are you going to get a job? Well, if that's the case, Mr. Cocozello, Mrs. Gleason recently posted the forms for work certificates on Schoology. Check those out if you're of working age. For those who are taking standardized testing this summer, a couple of important notes. The June 13th ACT is technically still on, but you have to check which testing centers are still offering it. There are a number of testing centers that have already canceled, including Morristown, Mendham, Westmore Central, that are closed, and those registrations are going to need to be rescheduled. You should be getting an email from ACT telling you whether or not your test center is going to be available. The next testing dates after that are going to be July 18th and September 12th. In addition, SAT opened up early registration for the next testing dates, which occur in August, September, and October. For those rising seniors who do not have an SAT score, or those who are registered for the June SAT, you're getting priority early registration for those tests. That early registration will last for 1 week. After June 3rd, everyone will be able to register for the August, September, October, and test dates for there. There's going to be high demand, limited seating at certain test centers, so it would behoove you to get on that early if you need to. And as we look forward to the summer, just know that guidance is going to be in touch with the classes, going to be in touch with the parents. We're going to remain communicative throughout the summer to make sure that we're continuing to meet your needs and providing the information necessary so that you can have a great start in September. Lastly, I'm going to remind you that now that classes are closing out next week, there's going to be less structured opportunity to be with your brothers. Don't allow the summer to be a break from brotherhood. Maintain those connections, reach out to guys, continue to show up and get that face-to-face time with them so that you're still building community over the summer. Just want to thank everybody for the time that you've given me. I'll turn this over to Dr. Donovan.
Thanks, Dr. Durso. Hi, everybody. Good morning. This is our last morning meeting, so I wanted to take this opportunity to announce our student ambassador coordinators to everybody. Congratulations to our 8 coordinators. We have 5 for 12th grade. Ryan Reynolds, Tim Butler, Sam Walsh, Matt Johnson, and Zach Vincent. And we have 3 for 11th grade, Matt Accardo, Rob Mafucci, and Will Calder. It was a great team I think we have established for next year. We don't know what next year, of course, is going to look like for sure, but they are a very strong team. We're excited about that. We also have put together our school host team, Stephen O'Neill, Kevin Cull, Yash Bandari, and Matt Dahl, and they will help run the school host program. We have received over 66 applications for student ambassadors, and we're going to finalize those choices. Actually, we have, and we're going to announce those and accept those people next week via email. So if you applied to be a student ambassador, please look out next week for notification if you've been accepted. I want to thank everybody for applying and showing interest in the program. And to you 8th graders out there who are interested in being school hosts as rising 9th graders, we will be doing that once school begins. So congratulations. And I turn it over to, I'm not sure, but I will turn it over to whoever is next.
So thank you, Dr.
Yeah, Liz.
So the speech that I'm going to give is called the Faculty Farewell. And for those of you who are new, you might not know what exactly that means. So the Faculty Farewell is a speech that's given at the Senior Awards Day. And the intention is that it's given by a departing faculty member on behalf of the rest of the faculty to say goodbye to the seniors. And so while the venue is a little different and the circumstances are a little different, my intention is going to be to try to stick to that as much as possible. But know that this is for everyone, for all of you. So I want to start with a story as to how I got to Delbarton. So I graduated from Seton Hall University with my chemistry degree in 2004. And I had decided when I was a senior, instead of going on to get a PhD from Columbia University, which was a consideration, I was going to instead go into teaching. I entered a master's in education program called the Educational Partnership in Catholic Schools, or EPICS, where I was given a job working at as a Catholic high school chemistry teacher, and I was also going to school full time, so I was busy. During this program, we were required to attend an overnight retreat, and I remember driving from my apartment in Parsippany to Morristown, driving through the square, and arriving on the campus of a school called Delbarton. Since I am originally from Illinois, not only had I never been to Morristown before, but I'd never been to Delbarton before or even heard of it. I can't say that I remember much from that retreat, except that I was standing somewhere between the fountain and Trinity Hall. It was dusk, and Trinity Hall was all lit up, and the view was pretty striking. And I told my friends on the retreat with me that I was going to do whatever it took to get a job at this place. I was so taken with the campus and with the feel of the institution that to me, it seemed like that was the very best place that a teacher could possibly work. None of my friends in the program took this statement very seriously, but I didn't forget it. After the retreat, I went home and got my resume together and sent it in without even knowing if there was an opening. Sure enough, I remember getting a call, and that call led to an interview for a teaching position for biology and physics. Not being my areas of expertise per se, but I was still interested. So I went to the mall and I bought a suit, and I showed up that day for my interview. I remember sitting in the main office waiting for it to start and watching the students and the faculty and the staff going about their normal day and wondering what it would be like to be a part of it. The interview was long. I was at school from 8 to 2, and the questions were tough. I remember observing a chemistry class and the students impressed me, as did the faculty I met. Delbarton told me they would let me know by the end of the week, either way, and I went home. I remember really wondering once I got home if Delbarton was going to be the place for me. I didn't know if I was good enough, if I was smart enough, or if I was capable enough to take the job. Taking a moment, I bet many of you felt that way coming in as freshmen or as 7th graders. You may have wondered even if you were setting yourself up for failure by walking through the doors. And I know that is exactly how I felt. I wasn't sure if this was the dream that I really wanted. So I decided to pray, and I made a deal with God. I told God that I would leave my job and go to Delbarton, no questions asked, if the headmaster at the time offered me a very specific amount of money. I don't really know where the amount came from, except to say that it was more than I was making at the time. Why I prayed this, I don't really know, but I did, and I was comfortable with that. So Friday of that week, I was riding in my friend Sarah's car. We were leaving school, and we were heading to Starbucks, and I got a call from Delbarton. So I answer, and it's Father Luke, who was the headmaster at the time. and he said he'd like to offer me the job. And the financial offer he made over the phone was the exact amount to the dollar that I had told God. So I accepted. I made a decision to leave a job that I enjoyed very much, teaching chemistry, to go teach biology and physics. I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to do that, and I still wasn't sure that I had what it took, but I told God I would, and so I did. And as it turned out, there ended up being 2 openings in the science department that year, one for a biology physics teacher, but also an opening for a full-time chemistry teacher. So I got to teach chemistry, and the person who was hired alongside me that year was Coach Ski. So the reason I came here is because of a master's degree program, a retreat, a crazy prayer, and a God who loves us enough to answer even the craziest of prayers. So what I'd like to talk about next is what I learned in my years here. We all have a desire in us for greatness. We have dreams, we have goals, we have things we hope to someday accomplish. And this is good. This is God-given because we were not created to be mediocre. But I think sometimes where we get lost is exactly how we go about that. So my advice, if I'm worthy to give anyone advice, is that greatness is not achieved by doing big things. Greatness is achieved by giving our very best efforts in small things. The greatest evidence that I can see for this in our community comes from the very source, the monastery. The monastery is filled with men who have made a choice to follow Christ in a very specific way. They have given up jobs, they've given up the possibility of getting married and starting their own families, and instead they take 3 vows. A vow of obedience, a vow of conversatio morum, which essentially means that they have a total conversion of their way of life to the life of a monk, and finally a vow of stability, which means that they won't travel to live or work in different places. They take Delbarton as their permanent home. And while the work changes and the responsibilities change, what always struck me is one of the things that remains constant: their daily commitment to those vows, which I think is best demonstrated in their time for prayer. The monks gather at 6:30 in the morning and at noon to pray together as a community. They gather again at 5 for Mass and Vespers, and one final time at 6:45 in the evening. And those prayers might seem mundane to you or to me. But the reality is my life for the last 14 years has been, in a very real way, made possible by those prayers. And your career at Delbarton has been too. Your favorite memories of Delbarton: the pits at sporting events, the football games, the hangouts in the senior lot, the practices at the field or on the court or in the pool, the classes, the projects, the hangouts at the second floor after school, the lunchroom banter, the friendships, and most of all, the brotherhood. I want to stop for a moment and reflect on the fact that the core reason all these things have been made possible for you is because in 1939, a group of monks, much like our own, gave their lives to Christ and built a school. And the foundation of building this school was the rule of St. Benedict, those vows, and those prayers. All small things, but they achieved greatness. The monks today continue that tradition. They keep showing up, they keep following Christ's call, and they keep saying those prayers. Even if they have bad days, even if they're frustrated, they stick to the promises they made to God, and they continue to pray. So when you're having a bad day, when you feel tempted to quit, when it all feels like too much, remember that the monastery that brought us all here sustains us with their prayers. I don't know if you know this, but the faculty, the staff, the students, the alumni, and the Delbarton community at large are in the prayer intentions of the monks every day. Those prayers will continue long after you leave this campus, long after you move on. The humility and the persistence of the men who sit in the church, who work in the school, those in the infirmary, and those who have gone before us is what has created the gift that is Delbarton. Delbarton exists because of their everyday yes to God. So don't ignore the little things. That's where greatness is. Be the person to finish what you start. Show up and give it your all. Do the last chemistry problem with the same level of attention and detail as the first. Be dependable and thorough in whatever you do, because no task is so small that God can't use it to make it and you into something or someone great, holy, and beautiful. Give the little things in your life the attention they deserve. So as I depart with the class of 2020, I speak for all of us when I say that our lives have been changed for the better because of Delbarton School. It is an amazing, beautiful, inspiring place to be, and I'm forever grateful that I was blessed to be a part of it. I know that the seniors are too. So seniors, thank you for touching our hearts, for teaching us through your enthusiasm and your example, for giving us your very best, for buying in, for pushing through, for inspiring us, and for making it with grace and courage to the finish line. Your years here will always be marked by your ability to persevere through unprecedented times. And while the disappointment and grief you feel at the way this has ended is real, the way you will rise above this and use this experience to do even greater things is real too. We are better people for having met you, for having taught you, for having watched you grow and become the men you are today, ready to go into the world and achieve great things. Remember to give it your all in the little things. The way you carry out the little duties of your life determines the character that you have, and never pass up an opportunity to keep building your character. You have been a gift to us. You have made us better teachers, and you have brought out the best in us in a very real way, and we are so thankful. God bless you, and know that above all, we are immensely proud of you. Thank you. And at this point, I'd like to introduce our president, Quinn.
Thank you, Mrs. Minardi. You've been an incredible teacher and spiritual leader at Delbarton. Your cheerful presence will be sorely missed next year. For those of you who don't know, Mrs. Minardi drove over 300 miles to wish all of her AP Chem students good luck on their exams. And the student testimonials on the Delbarton webpage reflect the grand mark you've left in this school. Your students have made a special surprise in order to express their gratitude towards you.
Hi, Ms. Minardi.
Hi, Ms. Minardi.
Hey, Miss Minardi.
Hey, Mrs. Minardi.
Hey, Mrs. Minardi. Thank you so much for giving us what has been a great year in chemistry. Unfortunately, we weren't able to give you the send-off that you deserved, but I guess this will suffice.
Thank you, Ms. Minardi.
Thank you, Miss Minardi, for all the Candy Fridays and the cartoon cover tests.
Thank you for such a great year. Your class really caused me to develop a passion for science and chemistry.
Thank you for an amazing year. You definitely helped me get through chemistry, and I definitely couldn't have gotten through this entire year without you.
Thank you, Miss Minardi, for a great school year.
Thank you, Mrs. Minardi, for a really great year. I think this was the best science class any of us have ever taken, and I think we all just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you for being such an awesome teacher to all the current and past Delbarton students.
Thank you, Miss Minardi.
Thank you, Miss Minardi, for everything you did and continue to do for my classmates and I. You always kept us engaged and focused in class, even if it meant letting us try a new flavor of candy cane every day for a month. While we aren't together in person, you continue to push us to achieve our best with extra SAT review sessions and other activities like it.
I wanted to thank you for being one of the best teachers I've ever had. I didn't really know what a science class was until I went into your class and figured out how exciting and engaging you were. I'll always remember those candy canes, even though they made me a little bit sick.
Thank you so much, Miss Minardi.
Thank you so much. I had a great experience in chemistry. Well, when I first started, I didn't really think I was going to like it that much, but your teaching really transformed it. So just thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I had fun in class, and I wish you luck in the future. Thank you.
Thank you for the great year. I've really enjoyed your chem class, and I'm so happy to see that you're going off to start something new for yourself. I'll never forget that time when you sent me down to the nurse because I tried to remove a test tube from a Bunsen burner without gloves on, and I got first-degree burns on my hands. So just, again, thank you. I'm so glad that you were able to make my year so special and that I was able to learn so much from your class.
Thank you for a great year, Mrs. Minardi, and good luck next year at your new school.
Good luck next year at your new job.
Your new school is so lucky to have you, and I'm so happy that you're going to spend time with your kids now. You will definitely be missed here at Delbarton, so I just wanted to say thank you, and I'm going to miss you a lot next year.
Good luck next year.
Good luck next year.
Good luck next year.
Thank you so much for everything you do, and good luck next year.
Good luck next year. Go Green Wave.
I wish you well and hope that you succeed wherever you go next in your path. Thank you, and Green Wave for life.
Although this video does not replace the celebration we want to have in person, me and the rest of your S Block class wanted to take the time to show you how much we in the Delbarton community appreciate the time you had spent with us. We will all really miss you next year, and we want you to know that you will always be a part of Delbarton. Go Green Wave.
Thank you, Mrs. Minardi. Good morning. Congratulations to all on almost completing the virtual Del Barton school year. It was an unprecedented year, but in spirit of Suchis Reset, we adapted to the challenge. I would like to thank the administration, faculty, and staff who made virtual Del Barton possible, the class of 2020 for their sacrifice and leadership, and all the students for their hard work and dedication over the last couple of months. This year did not end the way that we wanted, but I look forward to starting next year with you guys in person. Together with my council, I look forward to helping create the best year possible. We want you to know that this is your community and brotherhood. If you have any ideas or comments, please do not hesitate to reach out to any of us. Additionally, we've posted surveys on each grade level Schoology page for you to fill out. It won't take more than 5 minutes and it will tremendously help in planning for next year. We are looking for 100% participation on this and future surveys. The council has already begun work towards the promises that we made in our speeches. Some of the cornerstone plans for the upcoming year include a Big Brother program that pairs upperclassmen with underclassmen, finalization of the Del Barton coffee system, weekly video game tournaments via Discord, and reinvigorating school spirit after COVID-19. Regardless of what happens, we'll be ready for any scenario. Certainly, Del Barton is at a critical crossroad. We in the council will work tirelessly to ensure that Del Barton culture not only recovers, but grows back stronger. But we need you, the student body, to buy into the Del Barton experience because you guys are the ones who truly control the outcome of your 4 or 6 years here at Del Barton. As we move on to next year, I encourage you all to get as involved as possible and to take some risks. One thing I'm sure that we've all learned from this time away from Del Barton is how precious our time here is. Next year, I expect everyone to take advantage of everything Del Barton has to offer. Before you know it, your time at Del Barton will come to an end. As Rohan said, don't take Del Barton for granted. Every game, play, and science fair is precious. Overall, our goal for next year is to create an environment where we all truly feel a part of the brotherhood. So the next time you say together, it is not just a phrase, it's a living embodiment of everything Del Barton has to offer. I can't wait to see you all in the fall. Please reach out with any questions or comments to me or my council. Thank you, and go Green Wave. Next up, we have Abdil and Artav talking about the Wave-a-thon.
All right, good morning, Del Barton student body and staff, as well as parents and anybody else who decided to watch this morning. My name is Abdel Purdy, and I'm the current Del Barton Middle School student body president. Well, I'm the current Del Barton Middle School president. Today is the Wave-a-thon for the 8th grade class of 2024, and Artav and I wanted to thank everyone for their contributions and donations. The original goal for the drive was $2,000, but thanks to every single one of the donations, we surpassed our goal by about $5,000. As of now, we have raised $8,593, the largest school fundraiser that this community food bank has ever received. Thank you, everyone, and I will now pass it to Artav.
Yeah, so now I'd like to say a few thank yous. First of all, thank you to everyone who's donated. Without you guys, we really couldn't have reached our goal, and thank you to so many people. Next, thank you to the parents for the class of 2024 for bringing us all together under a great cause and helping us stay fit. Thank you to Abdil for getting the word out to our class and really helping control the entire event. Thank you to Mr. La Liberty for moderating the event today and helping motivate us to exercise. Thank you to Dr. Durso, Dr. Haiduk, and Rohan for getting the word out to the entire Del Barton community. Without you guys, we really wouldn't have been able to raise the amount of money that we did, and we are truly grateful. And finally, thank you to all of my classmates joining me on the Zoom call today for the Wave-a-thon itself. Can't wait to exercise with you guys. Back to you guys.
All right. Hey, guys. So as you might have seen in some of Dr. Heiduk's recent Schoology posts, the campus ministry team is looking for current sophomores and juniors to apply to be service coordinators and retreat leaders for next year. So you can apply for one or both of those positions, and the forms will be put in the chat after I'm done and posted on Schoology. So if you're applying to be a service coordinator, you'll be applying to lead either a community service group like EPIC, the Blood Drive, or the Food and Toy Drives, or more communal groups like Students Against Destructive Decisions and the Fellowship of Christian Athletes, among others. These leadership roles are really important in extending the charity and faith of our Benedictine community, and you don't necessarily need to have had previous experience in these groups to apply to be a leader and get involved next year. If you apply to be a retreat leader, current sophomores can apply to be leaders in the freshman retreat, and current juniors can apply to lead either the freshman retreat or the Kairos retreats. We're looking for guys who have had really good experiences on their own retreats and who want to give back to their younger brothers and make their retreat experiences as impactful as possible. So these retreats are where we get some of the strongest feelings of brotherhood and come together as a community. So it's really important that we get a lot of people applying and a really good group of guys to choose from. So applying for these leadership positions is a serious commitment, but it's a great way to represent Delbarton and our core values of faith, love, and charity. So like I said, the Google form links will be put in the chat and on Schoology for all current sophomores and juniors. And feel free to contact Dr. Heidick, Mr. White, or any of the campus ministers with questions. Please consider applying to give back and make an impact in our community for next year and years to come. And I think Father Michael is up next.
All right, thank you, Owen. Thank you, Abdiel and Arthav, and thank you, Quinn. And most especially, thank you, Mrs. Minardi. You've been a tremendous colleague and a remarkable model for our students. And there's very little I could add to the beauty of the words that you shared and how inspiring they are for us, and how I think they really give us a call and a challenge to move forward. So we've come to the end of this morning meeting, and we don't have any outstanding questions right now. So the last thing I want to say at this point, and we are going to have a town hall or sort of community-wide gatherings for our returning students, as you saw in the e-news yesterday, on June 11th, July 7th, and August 4th. So this will not be the last time we'll be together, at least virtually. But as several of our speakers have said, and as a number of folks have said over the last couple of months, we've been through a lot of disappointments, a lot of hopes that didn't come to be. Virtual Delbarton, as I've said more than once, is a substitute. It's not an equivalent. We want you to be back here. We want to be back here. There is nothing more energizing and exciting and powerful as when we are physically here together. And I think one takeaway we have from where we are right now is that we've learned that. We perhaps could take school for granted, maybe think, oh, I have to go today, or I have to do this or that. And we lose sight of how powerful the experience is of being here and how transformative it is, and how it's something we very, very much want, because we know how good it is for us. So we are going to do everything we humanly can to have you back here on campus and to resume fall sports and to do all the things that make Delbarton the special place that it is. We don't want a substitute. We want the real thing. And we're going to be spending the entire summer, again, within the constraints that the government puts on us. We're going to do everything we can to bring you all back and to make next year as good a year as we can, and to really celebrate our being a community. So I'm going to check one more time, and right now we don't have any questions, but even if you don't have a question that occurs to you right now, please feel free to contact me. Some of you or your parents have done so over the last couple of months. Contact me or anybody else in the administration. We're here, and we are here for you. And whatever it takes for you to be ready to begin next year, we will do or provide you with the assistance that we can to make that happen. And so with that, I will bring our meeting to a close, and first period will begin shortly. And for everybody here, thank you everyone for being with us. Thank you for persevering, and let's go Green Wave. Have a great day, Delbarton. It's been another great year at Delbarton School. Certainly a little different in its ending than at the beginning, but nonetheless, wonderful things have happened here every day, whether online or in person. Our Delbarton Suchisa Vareshet spirit is alive and well. So let's take a look at a review of this year in photos to see exactly how that all happened.
my hands on myself. Pick out dust them off, put them back up on the shelf. Just a little baby girl isn't me. Am I coming out of left field? Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. I've been feeling it since 1966 now. Might be over now, but I feel it still. Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. Let me kick it like it's 1986 now. Might be over now, but I feel it still. Got another mouth to feed. Leave it with the babies till the mama call the grave digger. Gone with the falling leaves. Am I coming out of left field? Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. I've been feeling it since 1966 now. Might have had your fill, but I feel it still. Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks now. Let me kick it like it's 1986 now. Might be over now, I feel it still. We could fight a war for peace. Give in to that easy living, goodbye to my hopes and dreams. Stop flipping for my enemies. We could wait until the walls come down. It's time to give a little to the kids in the middle. Oh, till it falls, won't bother me. Ooh, I'm a rebel just for kicks. Yeah, your lovers and a bitch for my heart to eclipse now. Might be over now, but